I would say that was probably the most frustrating, part about that day and this past weekend. So, um, but again, just now, if you try to look at the positive side, is I got a few days off from banging and got some rest, and so feeling good about going into this week against Chicago. Obviously, now being the playoffs, everybody's excited.
Next one from Amy Just.
Yeah, when we talked to Ty, he said his reaction when they told him that he was going to be the one, like, you're kidding. What? That's not real. What was, I guess, your reaction when you found out the inverse of that?
Yeah, I mean, well, look, I told both of those guys, Ty and Tony, that this was the opportunity for them. I remember getting my opportunities and injuries happen. These are the kind of things that you don't wish for, you don't hope for, but when you're on the other side of it and it results in another opportunity for you, you embrace that. So I knew that's what it was for them, and so I just was I was happy for them that look, they were going to get an opportunity to go out there and play. But for me again, it was just more frustrating that I wouldn't be able to go out there and play, knowing that I felt great, felt good, and but just had to be set out just due to these protocols. So just hoping that obviously we don't have that situation happen again, and that everybody is able to dress up and play and stay healthy.
Next one's from Rod Walker.
And Taylor, what do you feel like this team is right now, just sort of heading into the playoffs, and kind of the follow up to that is just what's sort of the sense of urgency after this team's been close the past couple of years?
Yeah, it's obviously something that we all know, even prior to me coming here, of where this team has been and how close they've been over the years, and part of the reason why I decided to come here. And so, but I would say we're not thinking about that. Obviously, during the week, all we're thinking about is the process and putting the work in and knowing that if we do that, the outcome we want is going to happen on Sunday. And so that's really what it's about. Obviously, it's a playoff game, and we know it's at stake, win or go home. But I really think we embrace the fact that it's about us and it's about what we do or don't do, whether or not we get the outcome we want on Sunday. So I think we've embraced that part, and we're trying to make sure we go out there and put the work in, and so that we will have the outcome that we want on Sunday.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
So Vegas, just like stat floating around that y'all have only had Drew, Mike Thomas, and Alvin on the field together for 10 quarters this year. Essentially having everybody back on the field at once, so you kind of being back about as close to full strength as you guys been all season. What's the kind of feel associated with that?
I think the fact that we have everyone healthy, and our best players healthy and on the field together, that is that's something that we all want, and that's something that we all look forward to. So it's no other feeling than that. Just having everyone healthy and having everybody available, because like we said at the beginning, it's gonna take everybody, right? Things happen, guys go down. We're dealing with COVID, obviously, too, now. And so having everyone healthy, having everyone up just benefits the whole locker room and allows us to go out there and do the things that we want to do.
Next one's from Amos Morale.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you how you were kind of mentally approaching this game. I know there's some uncertainty if Alvin will be able to play or if he won't. How are you kind of preparing with that uncertainty?
Just preparing no different than any other week. Just ready to go when my number is called, and that won't ever change. So I'm just preparing the same, and how Sunday turns out is we'll just kind of deal with it when we get there. But I know I'll be ready to go regardless of what the outcome is.
Next one's from Amy Just.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you to speak for Alvin because you're not Alvin. But how hard would it be for you to go into a game and not having practiced for over a week?
Well, I mean, I just had to sit out for 5 days, and you know, my first day back in the building was yesterday, and so we practiced, and you know, I felt good, I felt fresh, so you know, I think, you know, for him, obviously feeling good and being healthy is the most important thing, you know, with you know, due to his conditions or whatever you want to say. But so yeah, I'm not sure. I think that's just probably the most important thing for him is making sure that he's feeling healthy regarding COVID but I think the physical part, I doubt he'll have a problem with that.
Thanks. Last one from Luke Johnson.
Maybe it's just considering what happened last week and what time of the year it is now. Is there any like additional discussion from the leadership of the team about like just being extra careful? Is this just, you know, kind of a isolated incident in your mind?
Yeah, no, it hasn't been any additional discussion that I guess that, you know, we talked about as a team, as a group, but you know, I think this definitely probably is a learning experience for everybody, and seeing that you know, I think we were on the other side of it some weeks back when we played Denver, and then now it's affected us directly. So just learning from this and being aware that, you know, obviously we're at a point in time in the season that this you know, we won't have another opportunity, right, if things go the wrong way. So keeping that in mind, I think everybody does have that in mind, and just knowing, you know, what you do or don't do could affect the team.
One last one from Brooke Kirchhofer. Brooke, you're a little tuning in and out. We can't hear you that well.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, we got
better
you.
now.
Okay. So there's been some reports that Alvin Kamara is participating in practice virtually through video since he can't be there. Do you mind just explain what that looks like and feels like for you guys for also getting his practice reps?
Can you just repeat that one more time, please?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, better now.
Okay, I apologize. There are reports out that Alvin is participating in practice virtually through video. And since we can't actually see that and be there, do you mind just detailing what that looks like to you guys as you're also getting reps in practice while that's going on?
Yeah. So he's so while we're in meetings, he's able to WebEx in and go through the install, all the film that we watch in meetings, and then in you know, practice, he's able to watch practice live and hear you know, some of the coaching feedback, you know, however, you know, their technology. So I think that's pretty much it. He's able to hear coaching points, able to watch the virtual feed of what they have for practice live, and yeah, sit in on the meetings. So I'm sure that's been very beneficial for him, and it definitely make the transition easy on Sunday. You know, had that not been the case.
We're all set. Thank you,
Have a good
David.
one. Thank you.
That's awesome, right?
Yeah.
When it started being optional. No, I gotta get this space out here.
First one from Amy Jess.
Yeah, Malcolm. Yesterday, Tehran was named Y'all's Ed Block Courage Award winner. And I just wanted to ask you what that means, just knowing everything that he's been through on and off the field this season.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the amount of respect that Tehran has in this locker room from peers, the coaching staff, you know, I think is incomparable to anybody. So I think there's nobody more deserving. Obviously, all the things that he does to get back on the field and keep his body together and what he means to not only our offense but our team. I think it's a great selection and definitely well deserved.
Next one's from Amos Morale.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, what have you seen from that Bears offense that maybe has changed or evolved since the last time you guys played them earlier this year?
Well, I think they're complementing, their offensive scheme really well. So you already had the runs that are a little bit difficult to deal with because they got jet motions and tight end swaps and all these things that distract you. And then it's hitting downhill. They got a really good running back who can run through contact. It's good balance and can follow blocks. But I think the biggest part is they've been doing a lot more movement passes and play actions to stay or to marry with that run game. And it makes it really hard, especially if you have undisciplined eyes. It keeps them ahead of the sticks. It makes it easy for the quarterback to just get the ball out of his hands or give him a run option. And so we're going to have to deal with a lot of that movement and be able to get them into situations where they have to go to drop back. So that means that we got to stop the run, and that means we'll have to have disciplined eyes when they hit us with play actions and really make them get into a spread out drop back game.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
It's kind of a two-part, but it's all related. First of all, I think you guys finished tied for league lead in interceptions this year. Just curious if you could explain why you think that is, if it's like a combination of scheme and ability or any one individual thing, and then if you could kind of break down what you saw on that interception in the end zone last week.
Yeah, as far as the interceptions as a group, that's one of our goals is to turn the ball over as many times as we can, and that just means taking advantage of the opportunities that come. I think if you ask anybody in our room, we felt like we dropped way too many this year. And so that's been a point of emphasis. So that's part talent and scheme. But as far as the one play from this past week, it's just a simple combination route that majority of teams have where they're running a double post. And I was just able to slip into that second window as that deep defender.
Next one's from Amy Just.
Yeah, a lot has been made about how offensively the team is getting back to full strength, but the secondary and the defense is getting there too, with Marcus coming back to practice and CJ potentially coming back and P-Rob being almost ready to come back. How big is that for y'all as we move down the playoffs here?
I mean, that's huge. In the games that are most important and you want your best players on the field. So anytime you get, guys of that caliber to come back into the lineup makes us better as a unit. We've had a lot of people step up, in the rotation over the last few weeks. But to have, your best guys out there in the games that count the most is what you want. So obviously we're excited for that.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Is the kind of atmosphere in the locker room at all comparable, different to the atmosphere that you experienced in Philadelphia during some of those playoff runs this year, or even like some of the earlier playoff teams in New Orleans for you?
Yeah, the vibe in the locker room, I think is very similar. We're not going to make, a huge deal out of it being, football. We don't have to change up anything, or now all of a sudden that's the playoffs. We do something special. It's like, no, just do what you've been doing better and do the simple things better than everybody else. The game, I said this many times, and this is what I always tell people around the playoffs and things like that, is that the game is the same. The rules are the same. The field is the same. The football is the same. Just do what you've been doing to win games. The only thing that is different are all the things outside of the field. More fans, more cameras, bigger stakes. But the task and what wins football is always the same. On defense, we want to take the ball away, keep scoring down, win the situations. On offense, you score more points than the other team. And so for us, it's just not doing anything different as far as our process. It's got us to this point, and it'll get us through if we just continue to, do our jobs.
Next one's from Amy Just.
Yeah. Y'all have played, the entire regular season to get the best possible seed that you can have or home field advantage. Obviously, that's going to look a little different this year with only like 3,000 fans in the stands. Is there something else that y'all can do to help create some home field advantage with creating the energy yourself? Or is that just something that's just going to be a little weird this year?
Well, I think, we've all had to get used to not having, the type of fans that we have in the stadiums around the country. It's been weird, but I think we've all adjusted to it. And, the Superdome in particular has always been a place that has created a really definitive home field advantage when it comes to noise. But we've obviously grown accustomed to not having that this year. And so, yeah, it's on us to create the energy, but we feel like we play with a lot of juice. We got enough guys to create the energy, and the way you create that energy is you play well. When you execute and you're making plays, it's easy to create that momentum. But no, we won't have, unfortunately, our crowd behind us like we normally do, but I think we'll be fine.
Next one's from Rod Walker.
And Malcolm, do you feel like y'all played the perfect game yet? Or, do you feel like this team is ascending, or just where do you feel like y'all are right now going into the playoffs?
I don't know if I believe in a perfect game, but, I think we've played some complete games this year. And I think heading into the playoffs, we feel good about, being balanced, having an attack that is, not just, a good offense or a strong defense, but really clicking on all three cylinders, special teams, defense, and offense, all really working together. And I think, that's a good sign moving into the playoffs. I think we're built to last, but, for us, it's really all about the Chicago Bears, and we played this team earlier this year, so we're very familiar. We think they match up well, and that'll be a tough game. So really all the resources in our minds are, built on how do we win this week. That's obviously the only one we're guaranteed.
Last one's from Stacey Dales.
Hey, Malcolm, I know several weeks ago you mentioned compared to the other two Super Bowl teams you've been a part of that there was a different feel to this year's Saints team. Heading into the playoffs this week specifically, how do you reflect on that? And how does this sort of week feel different than other teams you've been a part of in the playoffs?
Well, I think what's different probably about this team is that this is really the first one where you in the offseason and going into the preseason, you pretty much know that we're going to be a postseason team. We still had to go earn it and figure out what seed, but we knew we're talented enough to be here, and we've been here obviously the last few years. I think the challenge that we face now is that we don't assume that just because now we're here in the playoffs that, this is just a journey to the Super Bowl. We got to be right here, right now. Chicago Bears is the only thing that we can be focused on. And we know everybody wants to feed us the narrative about, not taking care, of things in the playoffs, not being able to get to that big game. And it's the easiest way to fall right into that narrative is to be looking down the road, at what our goals are, especially the closer and closer that we creep up to them. So as a leader on this team, and just my message really is been, obviously one game at a time, one practice at a time, doing everything that you can to beat Chicago Bears. The rest of those things will play itself out. But I think, we're excited for the opportunity to be in the tournament, obviously.
Thanks so much.
Yep.
Thanks.
I think at the end of the week I need a haircut every time.
Go ahead, Amy.
Sorry, just got me caught up there. Lost my train of thought. Obviously nothing's set in stone yet, but what would it mean to you to have the offense be at full strength this week with Alvin potentially being able to play and Mike being designated to return from IR yesterday?
I mean, perfect timing. If you wanted to predict, like, how would you want the team to be in terms of at what point of the season would you want everybody to be back healthy, ready to go? You would say the beginning of the playoffs, and hopefully we all just last this entire playoff run. One game at a time, obviously, but we got the Bears coming up, and we're back at full strength. We got Mike, we got Deontay back. Obviously we still, but to have those two guys back in practice and just seeing like them healthy and fresh, and seeing them flying around, and seeing Deontay's speed again on the field, and Mike coming out of his cuts, catching passes. It feels good to know that we're going into the game with those guys.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Emmanuel, when you were looking at New Orleans this offseason, was there any thought in your mind about like potentially having limited opportunities here with Drew? I know you said that was a big part of why you came here, but we just don't know. Maybe this year is just last year, maybe next year is, and it's just kind of uncertain.
You mean limited opportunities as in like
this time of year playoffs with Drew Brees?
You mean in terms of like plays?
No, in terms of like maybe this is the last.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I came here to win a Super Bowl, and I came here to experience the Sean Payton Drew Brees connection. And I knew that it was potentially a year-to-year deal with Drew. Like, I didn't come here saying, I'm about to play with Drew Brees a long time. And, I mean, even for myself, like, we're all pretty much on one-year deals, and so it's a situation that I don't think about it. I don't think about it. I just go with the flow and let the chips fall where they may. And every time I take the field with him, it's an honor, and it's a privilege, truthfully, to line up with a guy like that. I sometimes I just sit back and just watch him, how he prepares and how he gets his set ready to go, and like his tenacity and his aggressiveness in terms of just his play calling and how he approaches the game. I mean, we talk about a legendary quarterback, and the New Orleans Saints are blessed to have a guy like that at the quarterback for as long as they've had him. And it's been fun to watch, not only as just his teammate, but also just as a player in the NFL and growing up as a kid. And so to be in this position to keep making plays for him, and hopefully, if it is his last year, hopefully we can send him out on top.
Next one's from Amos Morrell.
Yeah, Coach Payton earlier today mentioned that, when he's putting together the roster, there's a certain, core things that they're looking for in a player. And I'm curious, as a free agent who signed with the team and has gotten to know the locker room, do you get a sense that, there's like a common, set of traits among the guys in the locker room? So what are those that you've noticed?
I think there's no really me guys in the locker room. I think it's a lot of team guys, and I've been enjoying this locker room. You got a lot of different personalities. You got some people that's quiet, and then when you talk to them, you see that they're not so quiet. It's just they stick to themselves. And then you got Cam Jordan, who walks up to my locker every day, and we laughing and rolling, and stomach hurting and telling jokes. And I got Craig Robertson next to me, and and so I've been having a good time with this entire locker room. And I think that as far as personality based, I don't know if they choose a certain personality, but one thing I do know is all of this starts with Sean Payton and his personality. We got a head coach who loves ball, loves calling plays, legendary coach, in my opinion. But at the same time, he keeps it light as well. Like every now and then he'll come in and he'll crack a joke, and he'll have everybody laughing and everybody rolling. And Sean, he works hard, but he also likes to have a good time too. And so I think that's just the energy, and not only that, that's the energy of this city as well. I've been fortunate enough to play in Pittsburgh. That's the you know, blue collar city, right? Like work hard, like, and then I went to Denver and now it's just laid back, right? Just chill. And then I went to San Fran and that's the tech capital. And now I'm here in New Orleans and I see the difference of the entire city affecting the teams. And, you know, and like I said, our head coach was doing the gritty with a pair of Jordan 11s on. That's New Orleans, right? And it just goes to show that, you know, how cool of a coach is Sean Payton. I could speak on that guy all day, but we all know what he's about.
Next one's from Amy Just.
Yeah, obviously this has been something that y'all have dealt with all season, but you know, as you go through the regular season, you try to get the best possible seed for home field advantage, and obviously that looks a little different this year, with not having to have a lot of fans there and you having to create your own energy. How, we've talked about this before, but how do you create your own energy, especially knowing that it's the playoffs, it's win or go home?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you just ended on, right? It's the playoffs. And if you gotta search for a certain energy for the playoffs when it's win or go home, then what are you really doing? And so it's one of those situations where every play matters. Every situation matters. It's not even about the energy or anything. It's about going out, executing at a high level and trying to bring a Super Bowl to the city of New Orleans. And the only way we can do that is one game at a time and controlling what we can control. And crowd noise and, you know, the COVID protocols and everything that's going on, that's something we can't control. But what we can control is the X's and O's and executing at a high level.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Emmanuel, you kind of touched on it a little bit right there, but obviously you kind of developed like some sort of relationship with Sean Payton in your time here, and the camera saw you after you hit that bonus last week, going up and finding Sean on the sidelines. Like, I'm curious what that meant to you, like, you know, him saying like look, we know this is a thing you're gonna get, we're gonna go get that for you.
Yeah, it was cool. You know, early in the week he kind of told me that he was gonna allow me to get those 8 catches, and you know, we got a type of relationship that me and him, we joke and we clown, but we work as well, and you know, so when I looked down at him and he was looking at me and pretty much saying like, yeah, like I told you I was gonna help you get it right, and you know, I just went down and just pounded him, gave him a little hug, like appreciate you, and so. You know, some organizations, like when it comes to incentives, like they don't want to pay out those incentives. But we got a head coach, and even Mickey Loomis, he walked up to me yesterday and said, "I'm happy that you got your incentive." And so that's a credit to the Saints organization and what they're about, and it's the reason why I've been having so much fun and just playing for this organization and being a part of it, because the energy here is amazing.
Next one's from Doug Mouton.
Right, and your city by city breakdown was ridiculously fun to listen to. But I grew up in New Orleans, so when you say the vibe of New Orleans sort of translates on, as a guy who's from here, I'm not totally sure exactly what you mean. As a guy coming here, what is it about? Explain what it is.
New Orleans has it's like their food. New Orleans has flavor. New Orleans has flavor. Like I just ate some gumbo, right? I just, you know, like it has flavor. Like if you speak of New Orleans, you speak of Cajun, good food, good energy, good vibe, just flavor and sauce. And then and what do you like? Most people probably won't see it in Sean Payton, but we got a head coach who's rocking Jordan 11s during the game, doing the gritty. He has flavor. He's not bland, right? And that's New Orleans. And so, you know, even Drew practices in Jordans. Jordan is flavor to me. That's sauce. That's swag, right? It's not the whole, and that's no diss to anybody like wearing Asics, but Asics, you know, it's kind of like, in my opinion, it's like grandpa-ish, right? And Jordan is like the culture, like the young crowd, right? It's flavor. And so that, you know, that's what I mean by that. And you know, I don't want to diss Asics and none of that, but that's just how I feel about it.
Next one's from Rod Walker.
Hey man, you did this ASICs, by the way.
I did, but it's the truth though, right? Like if somebody said, well, I like for me, like it's just personally for me. If somebody said, well, would you rather have Asics or Jordans? I'm gonna take the Jordans because I like to have flavor. I like salt and pepper in my food. I'm sorry.
I'm with you. I wanted to ask you about you played that last season with Peyton Manning. Are there any similarities in just going to the playoffs this year and just sort of what you remember back that year? As far as Drew is concerned.
I truthfully don't like to compare like and the reason why I don't like to do it is because I just like to stay in the moment. And I think like when I compare like they say former teams, or if I think about the 15 team, then I have a certain expectation, and I rather just enjoy the moment of this team and of right now. And so, what me and Peyton was able to accomplish in that team in 15, we were able to win it all. And and what we have here, I think that we have a great opportunity as well. But it's just not going to be given to us. We got to go out and take it, and we got to execute, and we got to make the plays. We got to just be who we are, and I feel like we'll be fine.
My follow-up there, where do you feel like this team is right now going into the playoffs? You feel like
I think we're in a good position. We got guys coming back. We got Mike coming back. We got Deontay coming back, and I feel like as a team we're healthy. And I just pray we remain that way, and that we stay focused on the goal at hand, and none of this COVID BS sets us back any, and we're able to make this run. But it starts Sunday versus Chicago.
Last one from Stacey Dales.
We got a dog barking. We got.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's my poodle. Rainbow.
Question, Emmanuel. You've played on obviously so many playoff teams with the Super Bowl trips, etc. You guys have the second most playoff games played by players on your roster in the playoffs. Is it overrated, or with all the experience that you have, does it add some level of moxie, savvy, confidence to have it?
If I wasn't on this team, I would sit back and say, I think that plays a factor. But the fact that I am on this team, you kind of got to ignore that and not think about stuff that really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, when we line up, it's X's and O's in this football, and we got to go out and execute. And so the past doesn't matter, the future doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is right now, and this play and the next play and the next play after that, and just keep stacking until the scoreboard strikes zero and the game is over. And so obviously, I feel good about that, but at the same time, I'm just in the moment right now, not even thinking about that.
Thanks for your time, Emmanuel.
All right, thank y'all.